This is Andrew Bosin. I'm a technology lawyer located in New Jersey. I have a nationwide tech practice. I specialize in early stage SaaS and AI startups. I'm also an entrepreneur. I've built and scaled and exited from a SaaS company with partners as the GC, and I own a SaaS and AI company with partners as the GC, and we're in the marketplace. This video is very narrowly tailored, and it deals with should you or should you not create legal agreements using AI large language models. So the way I'm going to approach this is, what I learned in law school or doing bar review, I can't remember. The acronym is IRAC. It's issue, rule, analysis, and conclusion. I'm going to lump in the rule and the analysis all in one. So the issue is, should you get onto one of those ubiquitous large language models? Let's say you have a SaaS or AI company and you want to create your customer subscription agreement. And the answer is absolutely not. So what I'm going to do is, do some carve outs and some exceptions and try to lay out for you, my analysis of why you should not use the large language model to create a legal agreement. If you go into Google, and because SaaS has been around, let's say 12, 13, 14 years, if you go into Google and you put in, sample SaaS agreement, you're going to get pages and pages and pages and pages of SaaS agreements. Now, again, I would not recommend using these for your companies because they're probably not right for you. They're not tailored for you. You're not a lawyer. And the certain paragraphs in these agreements, such as limitation of liability or who owns the data or the indemnifications or the warranties, might not suit your company for a myriad of reasons, including, just exposure, no insurance, which is not good. You need insurance or whatever. So this leads me back to AI agreements. Let's say you're a SaaS or you're an AI company and you need a customer agreement. If you can find one on Google to take a look at, good luck. Again, I don't recommend you taking any of these agreements you might find and just changing the names to your company and using them. But let's talk about going on to a large language model, an AI model, and you type in, let's say you have a SaaS AI company and it's for analyzing workplace HR data to make companies' lives, easier to look at data. So you go into a large language model and you type in create a customer subscription agreement for a SaaS AI platform that analyzes employee data, B2B, and then boom. Because people send me agreements like these that they try to create themselves using large language models, and ask me to review them and make them better, I can almost tell you that you're going to get something extremely pedestrian, extremely myopic. It's going to just simply spit out, the same 15 to 20 paragraphs that you'd see in any agreement, limitation of liability, indemnification, warranties, SLA, stuff like that. The problem is that you might be very good at what you do, but you're not a lawyer. And creating an agreement or getting an answer out of a large language model in response to your query, it's only as good as the information, the input that you put into the large language model to get it to spit out the output. And you simply don't know enough about the different areas of an AI SaaS customer subscription agreement in terms of what the language should say, what type of exposure should you have, is it an arbitration clause or can either party sue each other in state and federal court? Are you giving it, a service level agreement? Who owns the data? Who gets a license to this and that? So, again, what happens is I'll get an email from a potential customer and say, hey, I'm an AI SaaS company. This is what we do. I went into a large language model and I created a customer agreement or a terms of use, and I want you to make it better. And 99.9 times when I look at them, they're toilet paper, they're garbage, and I try to write back to these individuals, in a very respectful manner and just say, you're not putting in enough information in your query to get an agreement that's going to protect you. Number two, you're not a lawyer, so you don't know enough, and you don't know enough of what you should know because you're not a lawyer to put into the query, into the input, to spit out output that would make sense to you so that you would understand if you're protected or not. So while you might think that you just found a fantastic customer agreement because the large language model spit one out for you, chances are it just doesn't protect you because you don't know enough to put into your query to be protected. And I'm going to give you one specific example. There's not a single person that sent me a proposed AI customer agreement that deals with the input. What is the customer inputting into the large language model to get the desired output? Who owns the input? Who owns the output? Assuming that the customer owns the output, I've never seen language giving the vendor or the person contacting me a license to use the output to, one, improve their services, make it better, and or two, take anonymized data from that output to use for marketing purposes. This is just one agreement. The other major thing that it escapes people is you're not getting any legal advice about what you're doing. You go into an LLM, you spit out an agreement and you have no idea what it means. You don't know what the import is. You don't know if you're protected. A big thing now is the data. Who owns the data? What is the data? What is going into the input? Do you have training data? Are you able to use the customer output in the training data? You don't understand what your liability is or what your exposure is, especially in the healthcare HIPAA realm. So again, if I roll around to a conclusion, should you use a large language model to create legal agreements for SaaS or AI? Absolutely not. This is something that you should be going to an experienced, competent lawyer for, who can not only create and draft the agreement based upon your needs and your parameters, but also explain what this all means and what you can do with the data. If you need help drafting SaaS or AI customer agreements, please call me, technology lawyer Andrew Bosin, across the US at 201-446-9643.